The NCAA first started as a group called the IAAUS, which stands for the Intercollegiate Athlete Association of the United States. It was created to help rules for the college sports. President Theodore Roosevelt helped push for this because he was worried about how dangerous some sports were and wanted them to be safer and more fair. The IAAUS mainly focused on rowing and college sports, which were really popular at that time. Their goal was to stop sports from becoming too criminal and to make sure athletes weren't getting paid to play.
In 1905, President Theodore Roosevelt asked leaders from 13 universities to meet because he was worried about how dangerous football had become. Players were getting seriously hurt, and he wanted the sports to create a new group called the Intercollegiate Athletic Association of the United States, IAAUS. By 1906, 62 schools had joined the association, showing that many colleges wanted safer and fairer rules. A few years later, in 1910, the IAUS changed its name to the National Collegiate Athletic Association, or the NCAA.
For a few years, the NCAA was basically just a group talked about sports rules, but in 1921 they held their first real national championship, which were for track and field. Over time, they made more rules groups and added more championships, including the first basketball championship in 1938.
In 1939, the NCAA took control of the Helms community and held its first tournament around the same time. The National Interventional Tournament, NIT, also started. The NIT was a single elimination tournament played at Madison Square Garden in New York City. For many years, teams could play in both the NCAA and NIT's tournaments. In fact, City College of New York won both in 1950, which no other school has ever done. At first, the NIT was just as important as the NCAA tournament. But by the 1960s, the NCAA tournament became the biggest one. By the 1980s. The NIT was mostly for teams that didn't make the NCAA tournament. In 2005, the NCAA brought the rights to the NIT, and now it runs the tournament.
At Ohio State University, Hacklin played with Jerry Lucas and Bob Knight and won the NCAA championship in 1960. After he graduated, he was drafted by both of the Cleveland Browns football and the Bosque Select basketball. After the Browns cut him, he joined the Celtics in 1622.
John Havlicek, nicknamed Hondo, born April 8, 1940 in Martins Ferry, Ohio, died April 25, 2019 in Jupiter, Florida, was an American college and pro basketball player. He became famous as one of the most best six-man bench players in NBA history while playing for the Boston Celtics. He was also the first player to score 1,000 points in 16 straight seasons, 1936 to 1978.
The NCAA is in charge of men and women college sport. It makes the rules for the game and decides who could play. It also oversees local and national college competition, runs almost 19 national championships in about 24 sports. In 1973, the NCAA split into 3 divisions for different levels of competition, and each school gets pick which division it joins and which division it holds its own national championship in different sports.
During the 1970s, 80s, and the 90s, the NCAA got more power to enforce its rules. By 1976, it could directly punish schools that broke the rules, which could seriously affect coaches, players, and the school officials.
By the 1980s, college football on TV was making a lot of money for the NCAA. In 1981, Oklahoma and Georgia sued, saying to the NCAA TV plan was illegal. The NCAA argued it and fair to protect ticket sales and keep games balanced. In 1984, the Supreme Court ruled against the NCAA. If the TV contracts and had stayed, they would have made about $73.6 million. The NCAA only ran men's sports until 1979. Women college sports started slowly with a golf championship in 1941 and a few other events in the 1960s that didn't get too much attention. In 1970, it didn't get too much attention. In 1971, the AIAW was created to run women's sports after the Title IX was passed, giving more support and founded from women's sports. They quickly grew in colleges. By 1980, the AIAW had over 900 member schools. In 1982, the NCAA held its first women's basketball championship, which caused the AIAW to end. Since then, the NCAA has run women champions since the same way it does for men.
The tournament had one of the most emotional stories ever. Lou Salah Marymount, or LMU, went on an amazing and reached high-scoring runs. Their star player, Hank Gathers, had tragically collapsed and died during the conference tournament, and the whole team was heartbroken. But his tenant and best friend, B. Kimball, stepped up and played incredibly well in Hank's honor. In the second round, LMU played Michigan, and the game was absolute wild. Both teams kept scoring. It was crazy. And it ended up being the high-scoring game in March Madness history, with the LMU winning 149-115. It was the most sad thing ever happened all at once. In 1999, the NCAA was sued for giving more chances to men in graduate school than to women to play college sports, which some said was against Title IX. In the case NCAA v. Smith, the Supreme Court decided that the NCAA didn't have to follow that law, and they didn't rule on when that either the discrimination claim was true or not. The 2022 NCAA Men's Basketball Championship was on April 4 in New Orleans. Kansas played North Carolina at halftime. Kansas was losing by 15 points, 40-25, but in the second half, they came back big. They went on a huge run and scored 47 points while holding to 29. With just second left, Kansas' David McCormack hit a basket to take the lead, and Unk's last shot missed. Kansas won 72-69. It was the biggest comeback ever in a men's national title game. Key players for Kansas were McCormack, Jalen Wilson, and Christian Brown. This win gave Kansas their fourth national championship.
A defending championship is a team who won the NCAA championship last year. They entered the next season or tournament as the team to beat because everyone else wants to take their title. For example, Kansas won the men's basketball championship in 2022. They also defend championships in 2023.
The first time North Carolina and Duke, two of the biggest rivals in college basketball, met in the NCAA tournament was a huge deal. Both of the teams have a long history and a lot of fans who really care about this rivalry. When they finally faced off each other in the tournament, it added a ton of excitement and made the game even more intense. Everyone was watching to see which team would come out on top. and it became one of the most memorable moments in the NCAA history.